And of course, Will, we wanted to kick this off, headed to Milwaukee, talk about that county circuit judge, Judge Dugan, who has now been charged with 2 federal counts. And I want you to break down the details of this, and then what is this breaking news item?
That's right. So this judge, we talked about when she was arrested, kind of the shocking overview of that, but now we're getting more details as this criminal complaint has been released, and we are looking at the details. 18 U.S.C. 1505 is obstruction of proceedings before departments, agencies, and committees, and 18 U.S. Code 1071 is concealing a person from arrest. These both can go along with it considerable jail time and fines, upwards of as many as 5 years for one of the counts that you could be imprisoned.
And let's remember, she got the guy out the back door, and then he was caught pretty much immediately after.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like
we'll
she's
kind of go into how
these...
they even caught him was remarkable as well.
So she's facing these charges on not only a failed attempt, but a very short-lived failed attempt. I mean, the guy had minutes to get out, and of course, the police force and ICE took care of business. You know, it almost sounds comical, like we're making light of it, and you only are making light of it because she was caught so quickly, and because it happened so fast, and this is what's happening. And there's a bit of ridiculousness that comes from these kind of moments in our society.
That's right. So the immigration officials had, from an authorized immigration official, found probable cause to believe that Flores Ruiz was removable from the United States and issued a warrant for his arrest. So they're going through the process. And upon his arrest, he would be given notice of intent decision to reinstate a prior order, which is removal from the United States because he had been previously deported. And then he would have an opportunity to contest the determination by making a written or oral statement to an immigration officer. So this wasn't someone that was being picked up in a part of Tren de Aragua or MS-13 and going to be put on a flight to El Salvador. This is normal immigration enforcement process. So it's not even something that the judge could have an issue with, saying, you know, there's these injunctions against policies or anything.
Yeah.
This is normal process of someone who had already been deported and was before her court for very serious criminal charges. And they even make note.
Again, not criminal charges that are just immigration related.
Right.
Actually, not immigration related. We're talking
offenses
about
within the United States.
Yeah, violent crime within the United States is the charges that were why he was there in the room.
And they even say that when they're going to these courthouse issues, they say this within this charging document, that they don't go to family court issues or civil court issues. They only use the courthouse as the venue when they know someone is there for a criminal charge. So just that fact alone. But they went through the entire process here. The immigration officials talked with the sheriff's department, who's in charge of keeping the courthouse safe. They talked with clerks and administrators at the courthouse to make sure everything was in line. And they also say they do this, especially with criminal offenses many times, where they will pick up someone for arrest because it's safer for the arresting officers, for the individual, for the people around, because they know that person's coming through security. They're not going to be armed. There's not going to be an issue that could escalate further and cause violence or harm to other people. So this is a routine thing they do when they have the information that someone that they are after, that they have a warrant for, is going to be in the court. Now, they went there. They spoke with people at the court. The clerk said, can you please wait to do the arrest until after his case has gone through its hearing? So don't obstruct our state process. Let that play out before. And they agreed. So these agents are there. There's people from ICE. There's Border Patrol. There are FBI agents. And they wait. And then the attorney for this individual goes and tells the judge, there's ICE agents out there.
This part is where it turns to the point of absurdity.
And they say that she got visibly angry in the courtroom, called the clerk over, and then she went outside and confronted them, visibly angry, many witnesses said, and said, you have to go. She said, do you have a warrant, a judicial warrant? No, I have an administrative warrant, which is what an immigration warrant would be.
Yeah.
And she says, no, you have to have a judicial warrant to do this here. You need to go talk to the chief judge. So they say, okay, they're obliging and everything. They are trying to keep this calm and do this by the book. They go to the chief judge's office. One of the agents that was there because they were all plain clothes,
Right.
was not a part of that discussion and was on the other side of the hall. Watched her then go look around for other agents to make sure they're all gone. Goes back in the courtroom, confers with the attorney of this defendant, takes him through, she summons him over, takes him through the jury chamber, and then directs him, and that's all non-public areas, so they can't do an arrest there. Takes him, gets him through a different exit. Then after they talk to the chief judge, and he says, you may make arrests within the public areas. This is fine. They then go back out. They see him going through another door, very Scooby-Doo, as you mentioned, that was not directly behind that courtroom of Judge Dugan. And then they pursue him in a foot chase and end up catching him. And they have all this very matter of minutes. As you said, it wasn't even successful, but she orchestrated this elaborate distraction. Yeah. Go talk to the chief
Without
judge.
the other, by the way, didn't we find out also that the people on the other side of the case, I don't know, the lawyers of the people who were potentially, allegedly beaten, including a man and a woman that were beaten by this guy, weren't involved in this, weren't told.
Right. So the lawyer for the defendant was talking, having this sidebar with the judge, but the lawyer for the state's attorney, was told none of this, and all of a sudden is like, where's the defendant? And the clerk goes, oh, the judge has informed me that his proceedings have been adjourned for the day. And he's like, well, why didn't you tell me any of this? Yeah. Also, the victims are here, and the victim advocate was there. And still, this judge thought she had the authority, this arrogance, to say, you know what? I don't care about the law anymore. I don't like what the administration is doing with this immigration stuff. I've already told people if they're scared to come in my courtroom, you don't have to come into court. You can come into Zoom. That I am going to subvert the law. That's where people lose faith in our institutions.
Look, there's a lot of obviously corruption that goes on, but there's obviously the sort of, you don't want to say it, but the Trump derangement syndrome that breaks people down. I've seen a lot of good friends get broken down by this. And look, sometimes I understand it's tough, but if you're a judge, a sitting judge in Wisconsin or anywhere in this country, you still have a job to do, and you got to do it. And your responsibility as an American isn't to do this.
Well, and there's a question coming in from YouTube. This is Patrick that asks, how do these people get appointed in the first place? Well, this is a state court. This person's elected. This person is elected by the people of Wisconsin. So she will have a re-election, which we'll see how that plays out, if she's even still able to serve as a judge because of a conviction or things of that nature. But that's what you're looking at here. These state court judges are elected by people, and then they feel like they have the utmost authority. Now, they do have a lot of authority when it comes to the courtroom and making decisions and interpreting the law. But that doesn't give them the right to take the law into their own hands. This wasn't even some excuse she could come up with that there's an injunction, which we'll talk about those injunctions in the next segment.
Yep, absolutely.
But there's this injunction in place, and so I was concerned he was going to be put on a plane to El Salvador. No, this was a warrant that was valid. Someone who'd already been deported and still violated that and came back, and she ignored it. You can't ignore the law. That's the famous thing from Letitia James, where she said, no one's above the law when going after President Trump. They think that they are above the law, and you know what? You're not, and you can get arrested for that.
We are so excited to announce the ACLJ's brand new app, completely redesigned to provide you with the best tools available to partner with us at the ACLJ. You can watch the daily Seculo program, sign the petitions, customize your ACLJ membership experience, donate with the click of a button, and receive up-to-the-minute critical updates that the mainstream media can't censor. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to your phone's app store, search ACLJ, and click install. It's that simple.